Hello and welcome to your show, Your Conestoga Today. I'm your host, Mamuzo Nwokoro. We are living in a time where machines can write, think, design, and even speak. Artificial intelligence can generate essays, deliver presentations, and in some cases sound almost human. But what makes a voice truly authentic? If we look beyond the scripts, algorithms, and the generated words, AI cannot replicate the tremble in your voice, the weight of your lived experiences, and the fierce courage it takes to stand up and say, "This is my story." In this digital era, we are flooded with content. That's why authenticity is no longer optional. It is the currency for connection. And the people who will lead, influence, and inspire in this new era will not be the most informed, but those who are mostly felt. Now, this is a conversation I find intriguing and deeply meaningful as we navigate AI and the evolution of technology. To answer my burning questions and demystify the power of voice in an AI-driven world is, well, I like to keep you in suspense until the end of the introduction, so wait for it. My guest today is someone who has built a platform that has helped everyday people step into extraordinary influence by telling their own stories. He has built a platform where vulnerability becomes power and stories become careers. Now, if you're thinking of TEDx, you came close to it. My guest today is, drumroll, a publicist and brand strategist who amplifies voices through storytelling and media visibility. Now, welcome Dan Shaikh of Speakers. Well, Dan Shaikh is here with us in the studio. Hope you didn't think we only had him on screen. Good to have you, Dan.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited.
Yeah, first, I like your energy. When I stumbled on your website, I said, oh, this is my kind of person. Very energetic, very charismatic. And perhaps those are some traits that come with speaking. But let's hold off on that one first. And let's dive right into the meat of today's conversation. It's AI versus human. Now...
Let's go.
Let's go. Now, we see how AI can generate content at scale, not just for speed, quality, and like I said in the introduction, can even mimic human voice. But one thing it hasn't done so well, at least not yet, is the authenticity in the human voice. For someone who holds, credibility in this space, could you please shed light? Why do you think, or do you believe that AI can truly replace humans in the speaking field?
Oh, for sure. No, because our lived experience is what makes us unique as humans. Our cultures, our backgrounds, our traumas, everything that we go through, those moments shape a very unique experience that we all go through. And that's the stories that are now going to move the needle, because everything is going to be perfect. AI makes everything perfect.
Polished.
Exactly. And so what are we going to do to connect emotionally with other humans? It's through vulnerability of those stories that are going to make us really stand out.
So are you saying that authenticity is becoming the advantage that we all need to leverage, both as speakers and even professionals in the future of work?
Oh, for sure. Like leaning into your personalities, your truths, those things are going to make you stand out, because everybody's going to have the same resume, cover letter, profiles, websites. And if everyone looks super perfect and polished, well, how are you going to stand out in the moment? How are you going to connect with that person? And so your personality really needs to shine through. But also, the other part of authenticity, that means also building a personal brand. That's the other part of it that most people don't understand. And when you combine both being authentic and building a personal brand, then you can really stand out.
So is there a place for that polished messaging, or we just have to take authenticity and show it to the world?
Well, Speaker Sam, that's where it all shines. But the world is your oyster, right? Like wherever visibility, where it counts, how do people find you? Through Google, through social media. You have to stand out in those platforms as well.
Okay, so what truly makes a person's voice unique, authentic?
It's that lived experience itself. You know, your journey, your why is always different from everybody else's. Every single human being has a different why we're here. So if you can really tap into that purpose, and it always comes from a place, for me at least, or the things that I've seen, it's your pain. You can turn, if you look at why you went through something and then come to the other side, I think that's a powerful place to be and a place worth examining.
Okay, so I recognize that there's a lot of noise, especially online, and I don't know if that's the reason why many talented people struggle to be heard. But how can one convert or translate their insecurities into influence? And now we're going to piggyback on your own experience. I mean, you mentioned that you used to be very shy. You never liked public speaking. You even had to deal with self-doubt. You know, how were you able to find yourself, reform yourself, and become the person that you are right now?
So the big thing is facing your fears. That's the biggest lessons I learned. And for me, at the age of 19, that is where that transformation took place. Prior to that, I was so shy. I couldn't talk to people socially. I was so afraid of life itself, right? We hadn't gone and explored the world. And coming from that immigrant background where money was scarce, I didn't have the opportunities to explore the world. And that all changed 19. I got a co-op job. And I remember it was the first time I had access to money, but also I remember stumbling upon this article. It was on Reddit. It was about regrets. What do people in their later terms in their life regret the most? And as I read it, it was like I saw the roadmap to life, like what is possible. And I started following that. And a lot of it was, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to take risks now, especially in your 20s. And that was the guiding force that I needed. And so I was deadly afraid of heights, right? So the first thing I did was I booked tandem skydiving. And that was because I Googled how do you get outside your comfort zone and do the opposite of what you're really afraid of. And that was the first thing I saw. And I was like, why not me? Why can't I be this guy? Because everybody in my environment saw me as this guy that was afraid of roller coasters, right? And so I was like, yeah, why not? When I did that, that changed everything because my self-identity was tied to, oh, I'm afraid. But now I did tandem skydiving, and what would my life look like? And so I just continued that path and was like, what if I finish my bucket list by 25? Which then I started doing 5 new experiences a week to really push myself. And all of a sudden, that journey of, you know, traveling the world to bungee jumping, to doing stand-up comedy, all of these things that I didn't think I was capable of doing, I was doing. My identity was changing.
So it's confronting your fears.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that when we do that, we create room for courage to be built. And so once you're able to stretch yourself a little more, you attain a level of courage, it becomes higher and higher and higher levels because you're doing it over and again, and you're beginning to understand that, yes, I'm capable of doing this thing. That's such a profound advice you just gave now, because most of us just sit down with our fears, think that there's no way I can ever overcome this, but this is one practical way to do that. Confront your fears. If it means you booking a ticket like he did.
The other thing that pushed everything for me was when I started saying yes to things that were new to me, right? The idea that if I haven't tried it, I will do it, from trying different recipes to going to different events. And was that one invitation from a friend It was actually a passion search competition. And I was like, this is the most unique thing I've ever seen. People talking about passions. And having that immigrant background, I had zero context of what passion meant. No, I knew survival. Like that's what we grew up on. So going to an event where they talked about passion and that really sparked something in me. I was like, I don't know my passion. I don't know what I want. I have all these different experiences. I've been just doing new things. And through that journey, that led to a self-development event because another person invited me from that event to another event. That led me to go to Toastmasters and then to another event. And that was the first time I got invited to a personal development event where they talked about vulnerability in a way that I've never seen before. People sharing their stories with pain. And for me, it was always difficult because vulnerability was seen as a weakness.
True.
And people out here just talking about that, that's different. And that made me connect, and I saw my story through that person's experience. And that's when I started like just putting it together. And this is before Speaker Time was created. I was just learning. So witnessing others' journeys allowed me to see, hey,
Where do I fit in?
yeah. I have a story. I have something that makes me unique and stand out. And those were the first steps towards what led to eventually Speaker's Time.
Amazing. Truly, truly amazing. Now, we're seeing speaking evolve into a viable career path on social media. We see everybody is a speaker. Okay, not everybody, but at least most people are becoming speakers. Now, how do we differentiate between a good speaker and a paid speaker, one who deserves the gigs?
No, that's for sure. Paid speakers are solving problems. But one thing that people don't understand about the paid speaking world is you have to be an expert in something, right? People don't just hire speakers, they hire experts to solve problems. And one angle that we've kind of noticed is paid speaking is actually 70% marketing. If people don't know who you are, you won't get through the door. And so that's the part people don't understand. So personal branding, standing out, having social proof behind you, all of those things help in people discovering who you are, and that sets people apart. You can be a great talker, but if no one knows who you are, well, you're not going to get the opportunities.
Shadows.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So how can speakers, or should we say budding speakers now, aspiring speakers, monetize their speaking, their stories, for in an ethical way? Because I mean. And I'm saying this because I'm sure you must have seen some of those adverts. The algorithms send them our way, and some of them you can tell they're just laced with a lot of marketing and advertorial materials. But I'm talking about people who truly have an authentic story, have the expertise. So how can you marry both and ethically ensure that you're monetizing your talent?
For sure. So if you're looking to go down the corporation path and go into whether it's schools, whether it's the profit sector, or it's events for entrepreneurs, you really have to understand your audience. Who's paying you? You have to understand that part because you could have a great story, you could have a great message, but until you understand who's going to pay you, none of it matters because you're talking to the void. So find organizations, topics that are right now in demand. Where does your expertise fit into that? Where does your lived experience? So once you understand the audience, that's when you create the message, the expertise, the content, because you need tools of the trade in speaking as well, like your signature talk. And then working back to be like, what are the best stories that best illustrate my expertise that meets what the audience needs? And then that's where you have synergy and you're able to stand out from everybody else.
Okay, my next question is really about how storytelling can drive societal change. How can we move from just a story that gets attention to becoming a story that can cause transformation, right?
So, in order for you to stand out, you're sharing your own story and that lived experience. It's having that universal message because your story alone is just meant for you. But that message, it needs to include everybody else. And once you understand that your story was the vehicle for someone else's journey to discover why they're here, that message might resonate with them. Your story was just the vehicle to get them there. So you need a universal message that connects with everybody and not just your own worldview.
Okay, because I asked this question because I'm actually wondering, and the way speaking is evolving now. It's seeming like, especially on social media, it's seeming like we're really, moving towards attention. And I understand because we want to create visibility for our brands. As someone who is very intentional about brand creation, how do you balance getting the attention as well as getting the message, the authentic message out there?
The goal is to be visible. You have to show up, regardless of, the algorithms will always push hooks, rage bait. That's not what the world needs. What the world needs is truth, people who are standing by their values and doing good. And you just have to keep showing up because half the battle is showing up. If you're not posting, if you're not learning and adjusting to whatever the data is doing, but showing up is still the right way to do it because you can't give up. The algorithm, you will figure it out, and the people that are listening to you will find you. So you just got to keep going and being consistent.
Okay, thank you. Well, just show that video from a few days ago when we had the March breakthrough competition. We just want to see a few footage from there, and then we could continue our conversation.
There's something breaking at the brick of every wall. It's holding all that you know. So tell me, do you want to go? Where it's covered in all the colored lights, where the runaways are running the night. Impossible comes true. It's taking over you. We light it up. We won't come down. And the sun can't stop us now. Watching it come true. It's taking over you. So we come these renegades in the ring. Where the lost get found and we crown of the circus king. Don't fight it, it's coming for you, running at you. It's only this moment, don't care what comes after. It's blinding out, shining, anything that you know. Just surrender, 'cause you're coming and you wanna go. Where it's covered in all the colored lights, where the runaways are running the night. Impossible goes to intoxicating you.
You credited the you credited public speaking and entrepreneurship, as shaping the future of work. Are you going to say that communication is now a core survival skill that we all need, regardless of your discipline?
The number one fear in the world is public speaking, and fear and what is the thing that we need go hand in hand. So communication, hands down, and I think it's way more important for our lived experience to guide us towards where the future work is going to go, because AI is going to lead its path, and we need to show up as who we are as individuals that are going to guide, and that means showing up, speaking up, because your voice matters.
So this is something you said repetitively right here in the studio, and I'm wondering, so are we crediting emotional honesty as a leadership trait?
Oh, for sure. Well, the ability to inspire others, right? How does it come to be? For us, telling your speech, telling your story in a way that allows people to understand you in a quick soundbite, if you will, but then believe in your why. And when we do that, and that requires vulnerability, and that emotional honesty allows people to quickly trust you, to quickly believe in your vision, and move the needle towards where you want to go. So highly, yes.
Okay, so one thing Speaker Slam has done very well is to help ordinary people turn their pain into power. And what has been the most credible lesson you have learned as the pioneer of this vision?
What I've learned is when people believe they don't have a story, um, they limit themselves because they're waiting for something to happen. The moment they step into their story and believe they have a story, it can change everything. And I have hundreds of examples, but the one that sticks to my mind is Lauren Pierce. For 30 years, she hid her invisible disability, and then all it took was for her this platform to share her story, and the outcries from all over the world, people coming together and be like, "Hey, my story is just like that. I didn't think it was worth sharing, or I'm living with this invisible disability," and all of these people started messaging her. And when people share their story, when people can relate to it, it opens up the door for them to be like, "Hey, I can share my story. I can speak up." Friends and family can understand and then provide you the space. So each person's story, as long as you speak up about it, it creates an opportunity for another person who's struggling with the same thing to be like, "Hey, I'm not alone."
Okay, absolutely, I agree, totally. Now, I didn't tell you this beforehand, but I'm sure you're up to it. So we're going to play a very quick game, very, very quick game, and very, very interesting too. Now, with AI, we can feed in prompts and get answers very quickly. And it's almost a tiny line, to be able to identify which is AI written and which is human generated. So I'm going to just tap into your brain and see if you can identify which
Ooh.
sentence is AI written
Okay.
and human, generated. So let's go.
Okay.
My first sentence is, "The first time I held a mic, my hands shook, but my story refused to stay silent." Is this AI or
That sounds AI.
what makes it sound like AI?
The part with the mic, like I don't know. I don't think people say it like that. Is that true? Was it AI?
No response yet. The second question is, public speaking is an important skill that can positively impact your career.
That sounds like a normal statement. Yeah, sounds normal.
Okay. And then the second sentence is, consistency is the key to achieving long-term success.
That sounds human.
Okay. I showed up every day even when I didn't believe in myself, and somehow that was enough.
Sounds human.
So that's the thing. So I tell you what, I fed a prompt into ChatGPT and said, please give me 3 sentences, that's AI-driven sentences and AI-generated sentences and then human sentences. And guess what it gave? It gave me these sentences. And even me just looking at this sentence, I'm like, oh my God, no, you're not correct, ChatGPT. Where it put AI, I thought that was human because it chose
Oh.
effective communication requires clarity, confidence, and preparation. That's very human. Those are like regular quotes that we say all the time, or from thought leaders. You could actually relate to these things. Clear, crisp, no flaws, and all that. But with the AI, you sometimes see some of those blobbers, some of those the way the sentences are constructed is a little
Yeah.
a little unauthentic, if there's any word like that. So that for me, I felt, no, even ChatGPT didn't get this right this time around. Now, it brings me to a conversation I would like to have with you. How much reliance can we have on AI as we try to finesse our stories? Because of course you have a great story, but you want us to bring it in a way that people can relate to it. It's finessed, it's polished enough to maybe make it sell if you're going to be a speaker eventually. How do we balance using AI as well as telling authentic stories authentically?
I think it's putting yourself in situations where you're around people. So it's important for, yes, everyone's going to use AI. I think that's like the natural part of it. You can't let it become your only voice. You have to put yourself in situations where, you're being visible. You're speaking in front of audiences. You're connecting with people. Don't let it become your only voice. Let it be the extension of the parts that you don't want to do and focus on connection instead. So how can you connect with more people? That's the part that can't outsource to AI.
I love it. So very well said. Now another game for you.
All right.
This time I'm gonna give you a phrase, and then you're gonna say it in 3 different ways, and that's because well, I want you to sound. And I feel like I'm giving an assignment right now, so let me enjoy the moment, okay? Now I want you to sound like a motivational speaker. Okay, can you help me move the teleprompter? I want you to also sound like as a vulnerable person, saying the same phrase, and then also as a high energy sales speech person, which I think you're naturally inclined to do. So that's my challenge for you.
Okay.
I don't know about the first two, but for sure the high energy is your thing. So the word is voice matters. Can I see if I said it correctly? If you can scroll down a bit. It's about voice matters. Or like, you can make it a full sentence, your voice matter.
So you want me to?
Yes, and you can develop it a little more if you like, but just so that we can see how motivational speakers sound.
Or like the variations of it.
Yeah, the variations of it. And then we can also see how someone who is maybe vulnerable, trying to say the same thing, how they sound. And of course, a high-pitched salesperson would like to sound.
For a motivational speaker, it's like, your voice matters. Each and every one of you in this room has a voice. Stand up. Open your arms wide. And yeah.
Okay, that was a good one. Okay, so what about a vulnerable person who's just trying to share a message?
A vulnerable person, all my life, I've been invisible. I've struggled with body dysmorphia. I've struggled with showing up where it matters. And it wasn't until I found another person that shared their story that really made a difference in me knowing that I have the power. I have a voice. I can speak up.
I love it. And then finally, the high energy sales speech.
High energy. When I say voice, you say impact. Voice.
Impact.
Voice.
Impact.
Voice.
Impact.
Let's make it happen.
All right, you know, I thought we could do this exercise because, like
Yeah.
I said to you earlier, there are certain key elements, or maybe not elements, skill sets that speakers should have. Well, that's me saying, share my own perspective. But you tell us, what are those skill sets that a speaker should have? You know, is it charisma? Is it tonality? Like, share a little more about what really makes. Of course, you have a great story, but besides the story, how can you convey your message in a way that is believable? It connects, it engages, it's immersive.
Again, it comes down to vulnerability. That is the biggest strength you can have, because when you can draw people in, I've seen so many speakers take the stage, right? It can be the quietest person in the room, but the moment they speak up, you can hear a pin drop. And it's because they got us. They led with a part of their life, vulnerability, that drew us in. You could be the most charismatic person in the room. Like the competition that we run, you can have people that have the credentials. They've been speakers for decades versus the first timer. And the person that has emotion, the person that has that ability to connect with their story, that's what draws us in. And so year after year, the thing that's going to stand out is your ability to emotionally resonate with people. And so that connection is what matters.
Okay, so is there any, should I say that people should lean into their strengths? Because what if I may not be as emotive as the other person, but I do have something about a ring to my voice, for instance, right? Or there's something about maybe my gesticulations. I'm just saying, like, do we have to just lean only into vulnerability, or we can also build other assets around our speaking skill sets?
Your ability to show up confidently as yourself, because there are other.
There's no module. There's no.
Yeah, but here's the thing. If you try and follow a formula, right, then you become more of a robot. And there are speaking platforms out there that, there are speaking groups where you go you show up and you repeat the same things, but the same group of people have learned the same mistakes and they're repeating it again and again. And so then you become like a product of, I'm not naming the brand itself, but you become a caricature. But what needs to show up is you need to just lean into your abilities, be confident in who you are being, because then you have a natural, you're being you. And that is what people like. And that's why I can't say to be a speaker, you have to do these things. It's just confidence. It's being the ability to show up in that moment and stand up and stand out, just being who you are. And there's no way to be that one thing.
Okay, so congrats to you and your brand. You've reached over 1 million views time and time again. My question is, what makes a speech go viral?
That is, I like to think of it as the anthem message. So if people like something, they'll hit likes, right? If they are inspired by something, they'll comment on it. But what makes someone share a story? That's the anthem message, because that person not only spoke to that individual and be like, yes, this is me, I speak, this person speaks for me, this is what I believe. And that's how you get shared. And I have a great example of this woman, Gina Hatzis. Back when the Me Too movement was happening, she took our stage and she shared her story about men ogling her. All her life, she had to dim herself in who she was. And the timeliness of that message during the Me Too movement, it just created the perfect storm. And when that speech came out, 14 million views in the first 2 days. And that's where the power is. When you can speak to the audience that, you know, a lot of women were going through and what they experienced, dimming themselves and stepping into a timely format, that message resonated at the perfect time.
Okay, I'm feeling it. Just wanted you to know that. I'm feeling it.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Thank you. I mean, now let's talk about how racialized and underlooked people can share their stories. I mean, we already said it earlier that, you know, voice can connect to identity. And should I say, unfortunately, some people, even though everybody has a story, we don't all tell our stories. Either because we feel ashamed of our stories, or we don't want to own our stories, or for whatever reason. But let's speak particularly to the demography of people who are marginalized. How would you speak to them to be confident enough to share their stories? Because their stories truly matter. And if we don't know about their stories, how can we even move towards making a shift or finding a solution?
This is definitely resonates. A lot of immigrants, a lot of people that are marginalized, you know, they have amazing stories. They have values that are so much more different. They can be family driven. And when they choose not to share their story, those values, everything that they stand for, the sacrifices they've made, don't get seen, and they don't get moved on to the next generation. So sharing your story is the best thing you can do in order for others to find other people like you. For me, if I didn't see another human being like that looked like me share their story, then I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing, because it shows possibility. Like, hey, you can do this, I can do this. And the more stories that are something that we can like resonate with, it allows for all of us to move forward and be like, because it ripples out. I see my story in you. You go and share your story, it ripples out. Another person, hey, I see myself. And then all of a sudden we have conversations, and then that's how change can be done. It's through ripples of conversations when people see each other.
I'm sure you shared a bit about your why you're doing Speaker Slam. And I know that you prepare people, ordinary people, for TEDx stages, and then you provide them with branding and media features and what have you. But what would be your legacy as a co-founder of Speaker Slam, as a brand strategist, as a media mogul? What would be your legacy? What do we want to leave, for the next generation?
If I can inspire someone to try something new, to step outside their comfort zone, I think that's what's the most important thing. Because I know it's real comfortable to be in your comfort zone, but if you can step outside of that, oh my God, every single individual could discover their own path and trailblaze something of their own. That's what happened to me. The moment I stepped into trying new things, I trailblazed a path for myself, and which was very unique to what could have been. And so always just thinking, hey, what's something new I could try today?
That's a great way to end this conversation with Dan Shaikh of Speaker Slam. I've had so much fun having this conversation with him. And don't forget, you can look up Speaker Slam on their website. All the information for registrations, if you want to be a speaker, if you want to share your authentic story, they're all there. And don't hesitate, because you surely have a story. The world is waiting to hear your voice, okay? We're going to break now. When we come back, we will be back with our Rewind segment. Stay tuned. I will be right back.
We won't come down, and the sun can't stop us now. Watching it come true, taking over you. It's everything you ever want, it's everything you ever need, and it's here right in front of you. This is where you wanna be. It's everything you ever want, it's everything you ever.
Thank you for staying with us. And now let's rewind, shall we? In this segment of Rewind, we'll take a look at safety and health and the stories that bring the conversation home. With spring here and summer approaching, staying fit is on top of the list for most people as they want to get that beach body. But the real flex about hitting the gym isn't just about, bodybuilding, but posture. The right posture, that is. Chris Guerra found himself a gym trainer and reveals what should be considered in staying fit.
This week I'm hitting the gym to pump some iron and get jacked. I've got a personal trainer who's going to assess me and then get me into a workout. So get your protein shakes ready because I'm about to get fit.
So what I want to do is I want to kind of go over sort of a basic fitness assessment with you. We're going to get your blood pressure, find out where your resting heart rate is, get measurements, find body mass index, kind of gives us a starting point.
After my assessment, I asked Jason, what are the benefits to working out?
So a big thing with as far as like benefits of working out are, so you really want to focus on posture. Benefit, like with working out, you sort of reduce your risk of injury because you're stronger. Like I said before, people get a lot of muscle imbalances. So by exercising regularly, you kind of help keep everything balanced out. But another big benefit with exercise too is keeps your blood pressure down, keeps your heart strong, strengthens the muscles, tendons, ligaments. There's not too many people you talk to who started exercising that said, oh, it didn't do me any good. Make sure you do the proper form, which is a big key. And I would say getting guidance, like personal trainers like myself. Ask someone who has done the research, who knows how to exercise properly, and then find something that works for you.
I wonder how many times a person should work out per week.
Generally speaking, when someone's doing a strength and conditioning program, they should be lifting at least 3 times a week. That'll really help get sort of the best strength increase. When people sporadically work out, it's actually harder because then they're always going through that sore phase every time. Essentially, when you're weight training, you're tearing your muscle. So say you're lifting a weight, your muscle starts to tear. Now it has to recover, so it repairs itself and builds back up. If you don't give your body a chance to recover, it'll just keep breaking down.
But what's that pain we feel after the gym?
Primarily, it's lactic acid they're feeling, but also they're feeling like when you exercise, you're actually tearing your muscle a little bit. They're feeling that, right? Like they're feeling that strain on their muscles and their ligaments and their tendons. And depending if they worked out at a really high intensity, especially, they'll feel that lactic acid that usually hangs around for a couple days. But it works its way out of the system, usually within 1 or 2 days. In fact, if you're sore after working out, the best thing to actually do is to go out and go for a light jog or do a nice walk and spend some time stretching. So you get the big beach body.
Holy iron pump, Batman. Now I know how Robin feels like after a day of training. I feel great, and soon I'll look like it too. I just bench pressed my best me, so see y'all next week.
Exercising is one thing, eating right is another. As we share this rewind story, we shift the focus to nutrition, not the quick fixes or temporary diet, but as a daily decision that shapes your energy, focus, and long-term health. As we know, lasting wellness doesn't come from short bursts of discipline, but from consistent, intentional lifestyle changes that support your body from inside out. Let's take a listen as Chris Guerra engages a nutritionist on what could be a healthy lifestyle change.
A recent study has shown that college-age individuals care more about their appearance than their own health. You would think that those two go hand in hand, but for some, they don't. Today I'll be talking to some college students about their own diets and visit a nutritionist who will help me begin eating healthy. If I'm going to get healthier, I need a good starting point, and so I spoke to registered nutritionist Tanya Heineman.
They can start by keeping a food diary for a week or so and just writing down what they are eating. So when we're making food changes, I always suggest doing it really slowly and implementing things one thing at a time. Baby steps tend to give people overall success and just a greater response to their goals.
Beginning a new diet is never easy. So I ask, why is it so challenging for us?
I think just like anything in life, when we say that I have this really big thing to do, this really big goal, and if we don't break it down properly, we really do set ourselves up for failure. This is a lifestyle change. This isn't something that needs to be won over or accomplished right away. It is an everyday thing that's constantly changing.
I need to know exactly what I have to do starting today if I'm going to find success. In order to start becoming healthy, I ask for some quick startup tips.
Picking foods that might be organic or more natural in their making, trying to cook as much as possible at home. So just keeping it really, really simple and using whatever matches your lifestyle. If someone doesn't have a lot of time for cooking, then I usually suggest, preparing meals over the weekend, making hard-boiled eggs, using the crock pot.
I want some more insight on how people my age eat, so I'm here at Conestoga College to speak to some students. With such a busy lifestyle, I wonder how often does students have a home-cooked meal?
4 times a week.
Well, I try and stay away from fast food as much as possible.
Probably 6 out of 7 days.
Well, I try to cook actually a lot. I probably go out about once or twice a week.
If I want to start eating healthier, I need to understand what's keeping so many people from doing so.
With a lot of people, it's actually expenses.
In the quantities.
There's like nothing healthy in the world anymore.
Planning in advance, I'd say.
Do you think working with a nutritionist would help? I asked my fellow students what they thought.
Yeah, I definitely would.
Oh no, I tell them to get off my back.
I'd definitely be making better eating habits because I'd be able to gear my nutrition towards what I need.
Oh, probably, because I'd have more ideas about what to include in my diet.
I now know exactly what to do to become a healthier eater. I learned a lot about healthy eating today, and I hope that you've taken something from it. I know I have.
Fire makes no announcement. It starts small and can become an inferno in minutes. So preventing a fire should be the aim at all times. Simple habits like turning off electrical appliances, avoiding overloaded outlets, and staying alert while cooking can make the difference between safety and disaster. Here's a video that sheds light on fire outbreaks and how the Guelph Fire Service work to manage fires.
When fire and smoke appear, so does the sounds of sirens.
102 of those fires were fires that were related to careless cooking practices.
Last year, about 60% of house fires in Guelph were caused by careless cooking accidents. To give you the inside scoop at the Guelph Fire Department headquarters, here is a fire prevention officer of 8 years to tell you the main causes of house fires.
The number one cause of fires in residences in Ontario will be related to cooking, stovetop fires, primarily using cooking greases and cooking oils. The second top cause of fire in the province would be electrical causes as well as appliances. We also have careless use of smokers' materials, mainly cigarettes, and heating and cooling appliances as well.
These house fires are more common than ever these days and are increasing each year. It can leave behind horrifying results and painful memories. To ensure the safety of yourself and your loved ones, here are ways to prevent incidents like these ever happening in the future.
Ways to prevent cooking fires will be to always stay with your cooking, never leave it unattended. The number one cause of cooking fires is usually leaving them unattended. Know what to do should a cooking fire occur. Cooking fires mainly occur when we're using cooking oils and cooking greases.
Obviously, one of the main causes of house fire is careless cooking, and these firefighters work hard day and night to keep our city safe, and with the help of their fire trucks.
Well, the fire truck is definitely our most important tool. It gets us to all scenes, whether it's a medical call, car accident. I mean, we respond to everything, not only fires.
This is a frontline first responding truck. This truck goes out to car accidents, house fires, all the heavy duty power tools are on this truck, like the jaws of life, big cutting tools that will be used to extricate people from car accidents. Here's the heavy duty power tools that are used for car accident. Ladders, fire extinguishers, pylons. We have a generator there. If we pull up to an accident scene or a fire scene at night and we need lighting, we usually use that generator. We have tons of extension cords. We can run lights off those.
So now you know that these amazing fire trucks has many other features for other uses besides putting out fires. But even with these features, it doesn't have a tool for preventing people starting fires. I'm Jesse Miette reporting for Conestoga Connected in Kitchener.
And here on campus at Conestoga College, safety starts with awareness. If you discover a fire, activate the nearest alarm. Leave the area immediately and close doors behind you. Do not use elevators. Once outside, move at least 15 meters away and wait for instructions. If you cannot exist safely, stay in a closed room, seal gaps from smoke, and call emergency services. These steps are part of the college's official emergency procedures. For more information on emergency management, visit the safety and security page on the Conestoga website. Well, that's our show for today. Thank you for watching and keep safe. I'm your host, Mamuzo Nwokoro. As always, I'll say to you, you have a voice, use it. Tell your stories. Don't be afraid to tell your stories. Your stories are as powerful as your voice is. All right? Have a great day. Bye-bye.